What's going on, guys? King Strats here, back with another video on the channel, and today it looks like another fried feast. It's not really a fried feast. This is an air fried fish seafood feast. I know it looks like regular burger fare, but there's absolutely no chicken, no beef whatsoever in this. So let me give you the quick rundown. Over here, chill out, man. We have breaded buffalo cod nuggets. I had these once before, but I don't think I recorded it because my video got messed up. So we did it again, done in the air fryer. Fresh fish nuggets, cod, again, nuggets, air fried. What are we saying? So these are cod, like I said, but they are smelling really good. Again, breaded. Of course, I had to get to my breaded cauliflower. Gotta get my veggies in. You already know the vibes. And last, but hey, where you going, man? I drop everything. Hey. And last, but definitely not least, I have 4 salmon burgers, which I made. Roasted red peppers, which I did on the skillet. You saw it, and obviously in the preview of this. Of course, we have the plastic cheese. It's fat-free cheese, but you can't really tell. And on the top, I made my own homemade cocktail sauce, which is what you see right here. You saw the ingredients: roasted hot red pepper toppings that I always put. Basically, I've become a huge fanatic of it. I got like 9 bottles of the rest of that, using ketchup, lemon juice, horseradish, of course, and garlic. That simple, homemade, fat-free. Horseradish doesn't have fat in it anyway. Low sugar though, it's low sugar ketchup. I gotta give some kind of healthy spin to it, right? It is what it is. But I want to get into these burgers. I did them on a cast iron. They got a nice crust to them. I don't want them to get cold. I just want to dig in. Oh man. See, I already dropped the burger, but you see the roasted red. You see that red pepper, homemade course. We can't speak today. Homemade cocktail sauce. And of course, the salmon patty itself. It's that first bite. Flavor jets is going. Oh, that is a good burger. Look at that. Oh man, yeah. Martin's potato rolls. I had potato rolls yesterday in my mukbang I did with the chicken, wonderful chicken fingers. Oh, I can't even think straight. Of course it's 3 a.m., but I need one more show, one more. See how tender that is though? Again, not a plug, not an ad. My favorite buns, Martin's potato rolls, are just unreal with how soft they are. The buttery potato bun, it just, you can make a terrible burger on it and it's still probably going to be pretty good. That's just my humble, unsolicited opinion. This is going to go very fast. Let me see if I can get a little more. I am a cocktail sauce person. You don't know, I can't stand pickles, so I always go with cocktail sauce when I get shrimp or seafood. I do have some Chick-fil-A sauces left from last weekend. Well, 2 days ago. Just in case I want to use it on the buffalo. That is so good. Oh. You know, my first bite of everything. I don't like to use dipping sauces. But this, you hear that. The air fryer is the greatest invention known to man. You can get that fried taste without the oil. So much better for you, of course, when you're cutting the calories. You don't want to cook with a ton of oils because that'll add it up. So you can hear that crust. And all I did was put it in there for 20 minutes. Listen to that. Let me get some of that cocktail sauce on here though too. There you go. Homemade cocktail sauce for the win. My goodness. I gotta get some of this ranch for those cauliflowers though. I'm probably the worst person ever at taking off wrappers from things. I don't know if it's because I have these huge fat fingers. Doesn't matter. Roasted cauliflower, breaded, air fried cauliflower with the ranch, just so we can get in here. Yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah. That is next level. I will never forget the first time I went to a Red Lobster and they said they had fried broccoli, and I was like, yeah, I'll take 12. Ever since then, I've been trying to do different air fried vegetables. I love roasted vegetables, but when you got a little bit of those breadcrumbs on there, it just comes out to a feast. And Chick-fil-A's ranch, bravo. And of course, what are we saying? You know I gotta get the ranch on that. I gotta get the ranch on that. We had no spillage today. I don't know what's going on. I'm on my A game, I think. I don't know why. It's 3 a.m. I'm tired, but you know I gotta be here for the content. So, wow, so meaty. And I think even people who don't like fish, you'd be hard pressed to think that was fish. The texture is so meaty. It bites like a chicken tender. No cap. Like, what are we saying? So hiding these in here for y'all non-fish fish lovers. Oh, that's good, man. Okay. I gotta get one more bite of this burger. I think one day I'm gonna do an ASMR stream, because I don't even want to talk. Oh man. So good. I haven't had a salmon burger in forever. I used to eat them all the time. Back in my bro eating days, I would just have one of those, no bun, and some rice. That would be like my lunch. I tried eating the 6 meals a day thing for a couple of years, and I always ended up crying at the end of the week, not literally, over Ben and Jerry's, because I don't like eating that way. I would rather have the balance. Oh, pink lemonade. Goated. Oh, goated. If you serve this at a restaurant, I'm not even like, it sounds terrible. Like, I'm just sounding terrible and super gassed, but I would get it from a restaurant. I really would. But the idea from the potato buns came from Sticky's yesterday. Also, I wanted to throw this out there. If you watched my Sticky's mukbang yesterday, it's the video right before this. The server I was talking about, named Justin, I don't know how he saw the video and he reached out to me, just you know, saying that he was so happy that I was so happy with his service. So, you know, just a super dope feeling. And it's one of those things where I've for years been against the internet and a lot. Like, I never was a person who had a huge social media presence, and I kind of backed into the social media thing, just kind of making the food diary. So these are the sorts of things that make all of this, you know, worth it. Like, just kind of reaching out and meeting new people, meeting cool people. He didn't know me. He had no idea I was going to be putting this stuff on a YouTube channel or anything. And for him to reach out, because he saw the video, I don't know if somebody reached out to him. I really don't have an idea. But the world needs more people like that, man. So if you do see this like you saw it yesterday, I definitely am going to leave some like reviews on Yelp, just shouting you out. And I'm definitely going to reach out. I spoke to the person who runs the account for Sticky's, the chicken finger joint. And I kind of gave them a heads up, but I want to reach out to like the HR, like, you deserve it, man. That was so unsolicited. And a lot of times when I go places, like the fact that you took the time to explain, I was my first time there. I had no idea he explained everything. He's giving options. He's, you know, this has red pepper flakes on the chicken and waffles. Are you sure you want this? You know, this has carrots on it. You want me to put them on the side? You want me, like, that's somebody who cares about what they do, and I can like the utmost respect to you, bro. Like, I'm at a loss for words, man. I'm a fan of you. Like, I'm not even being funny. That's like one of the dopest things that I've had encountered in a while. And I don't like the internet. I think it's the best, worst invention, just being honest. And stuff like that, stuff like, you know, the kind messages I get on here from you guys, and whether it's messages on DMs or people reaching out, like, thank you all just for making the internet a better place. You know, I know there's a lot of not so good stuff about it, but this is some of the good stuff, you know. I try to be some of the good stuff too. So to meet other people like you guys watching that have left so many kind comments, I see them, I try to respond to as many as I can. Thank you all. And just seriously, like, I hate being sentimental because it sounds kind of corny, but like, I'm overwhelmed by it, man. So thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to continue to make more content for you guys. And eat more good food for you guys. My goodness, that is soaked with the cocktail, that red pepper, and kind of just vibe, man. You know, I've never been one who cared about numbers, and just to meet more good people, man. I just, honestly, thank you. But anyway, And honestly, the same thing happened today. At my business, we're getting our Wi-Fi installed today, finally. You know, we need internet. And the guy who worked for Verizon, again, top-notch dude, man. Like, made sure everything was working properly, explained everything else through the process, you know, showed us how to, like, a lot of times when you're dealing with, you know, people, and I understand why, because, you know, working in service industries, you can deal with a lot of rude people that interact with you, the person working, from the consumer. And I understand that, so I never try to be rude to service people. I always try to go out of my way to be nice, but for them to be unprompted and be nice back, because I know people have bad days. And the biggest thing I can tell you, like any of you guys, we all have bad days. I have bad days. I've had bad days that I've recorded, and it was like terrible days, but I didn't come on here with that kind of energy, because I don't want you guys to feed off that energy and breed more negativity. You get what I'm saying? This is so good. This is great. I'm just being honest, but I don't want you guys to feed off that negative energy the same way. So what I'm saying to anybody watching, if you're having a bad day, I get it, but try to not take it out on other people. It's very easy to do that, and I get that. I really do. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it, but at the same time, I think it will make your day feel better if you make someone else's day feel better. And try to live or be more like, I'm not saying, because I'm not perfect. There are days where I'm mad and I'm like, you know, F off to everybody. I'm not perfect, but I do try, you know. And things like that, reaching out to my man at Sticky's and him seeing it and being like, yo, that was so awesome. I'm so happy. You know, like, that makes me happy. That had nothing to do with anything other than, like, you know, I won't go in, but that kind of stuff makes me happy. It genuinely does. And to hear things from you guys that when I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna come on here and record, and I come with positive energy still. To hear things from you guys like, yo, you know, I had a bad day, but I watched it, I had a couple laughs, like, thank you, like, that makes me feel better. Because that's turning a negative into a positive. Like, even yesterday, having the food festival rained out, you know, yeah, I was down. You know, I've been telling you guys about it, and I wanted to put that video out, but, you know, we move. And it still turned into a W, because I got to enjoy something else, and that happened. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, the universe, the world works in mysterious ways, man. So that was the ultimate turning an L into a W. And the guy today with the cable, same thing, man. Just, I told him at the end, you know, I don't want to say if I gave him a tip or not, because I don't know if that's like, you're supposed to. I might have not. But, you know, I told him, like, yo, man, you really did your thing. Like, that was awesome. It was smooth, the transition. You know, nobody gave a hard time. You know, it just. And he was just like, yo, man, thank you. Like, you know, like, because I know he had a long day. You know what I mean? Try to make other people's days better, man. It really does make me happy. It does. And this year, for most people, has been a walking L. But we're going to get through this and be the change, be the good part of this, because there's always going to be not so good. But try to turn those L's into W's, and I know it's not the easiest, man. I do. But I'm happy I got Wi-Fi. I got to stream the Giants. I took an L today when I was I was working out at the end of my day. Watch the Giants choke again. I love the Giants, man. And I'm not that kind of fan. I'm not that kind of fan that, like, you know, screw them and stuff. They're more upset than I am. I guarantee there's not a person in the locker room that's happy that they're losing. Everybody, you know, but... So I'm always going to ride with the team. This is so good. I can't stress that enough. Even the peppers and W. I know a lot of people don't like seafood. And I'm not, you know, I'm not judging. Because you know your boy hates pickles. With a passion. Let me get my tissue though. You know, my allergies are finally getting better. I don't have the sinus pressure, which is hereditary in my family. So like the last few days I've had really bad sinus pressure. Even when I did the Chick-fil-A thing, my sinuses were killing me. You could hear me the whole time because I was like so, you know, congested. And it's hereditary. My mom has the same sinus problems. I used to make fun of her for having those sinus problems as a kid, and then karma came and got me. So I told her, I said, Mom, I'm sorry I ever said anything negative about you. Not negative, I should just tease her. She was always like, oh, my sinuses. And I'm like, stop being a baby, you know? We would go on flights. I remember we went to Disney World one time. And she was such a trooper. Like, I know how like much that had to hurt. Like, being on planes that have sinus problems, your head feels like a balloon. Your ears just, most people's ears pop on a plane. With sinus problems, just like, your head just, and she was, you know, she didn't feel good. She never complained once, man. You know what I'm saying? But I used to like give her crap a little bit. Most kids are like that. We don't get it, but you know, I have to say that I'm so happy that I had my parents that were so like there for me so much. No matter what, win, lose, draw. You know, they came out to Iowa to watch me play more than they probably should have. Anytime we played a game on the East Coast, they came. They drove to New Hampshire. It was freezing. They was out there like this. You know, we won the game. Came and congratulated me. You know, my family was so good with that kind of stuff, and I'm grateful for that. You know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and we didn't have, you know, a lot of family. I don't have a big family, you know, except for my like immediate nuclear family. I don't have like a crazy. There was no family reunions growing up, no big Christmas parties. Like, I didn't have grandparents who like, you know, spoiled me like some people had. And I'm not upset about that because I count the blessings that I had. You know what I'm saying? Like, so no, and everybody, you might not see it because you might not have somebody in your life that you wish was there. But at the same time, you know, appreciate the people who are. Because no matter what you might think, and I was guilty of this in high school growing up being a hard-headed kid, you know, at times trying to run with wrong crowds and stuff and being like my parents are like stupid and, you know, or, you know, but like, I look back now and it's like, they, you know, everybody, they cared. Like, you know, my family that I had, even though I didn't get to experience a lot of those things that some people did. You know, a lot of my friends had like family reunions and, you know, barbecues, and I didn't do any of that. You know, like, really, I'm not, this is not like a joke. There were no family gatherings like that growing up. And I used to be jealous of my friends because, like, you know, on Christmas and birthdays, they get all this stuff. You know, like my grandma got me this, my uncle got me this, my cousin, blah, blah, blah. Like, mad presents. If we would go to school, you know how kids are. And the teacher would be like, oh, everybody, you know, tell everybody what you got for Christmas. And me, like, sometimes it'd be like, I got some sweatpants. You know what I'm saying? And it used to, like, I used to be jealous, but, like, the stuff that I value now, And even I did value then, you know, I was just in a wrong mindset. You can't put a price on that. Can't. And my parents were at everything that I did, my sister did, school plays, and sporting events, no matter what, like front and center for everything. My dad used to be my coach in a lot of sports. And he used to get me mad all the time. I don't know if anybody out there was a coach's kid. I was. My dad coached me all the way up until high school. There's nothing worse than like going 0 for 3 in a baseball game. I didn't do that much, but like, or striking out. I didn't strike out a lot, but when I did, being at the dinner table when he's, you know, you shouldn't have swung at that curveball, right? I used to get so mad, man. I know he was pushing me, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would have had the work ethic that I had, or the hedge, whatever, mindset to get a scholarship, you know? I know some of you, the teenagers that are watching, and some of you younger people, like, I know that whoever's, like, a part of your life, whether it's your teachers, your coaches, your parents, your grandparents, whoever's around you, like, I'm sure they annoy you. Listen. Just listen. Because you're going to turn 30, and you're going to be like, yo, they were right. That happens a lot. That happens a lot. Trust me. When I first got home from college, I worked as an assistant coach, high school football. Oh, this is so good. And Cauliflower. Some of those kids were so hard-headed, and I'd be like, yo, I'm telling you, like, this is not how it's going to be when you get to the real world. And they thought they had all the answers, just like I did. And I bumped into him a couple of years ago, a couple of players. Man, coach, you was right. Man, I was stupid. Just listen. Even if you're not listening, just listen. Because you never know. This is like, man, I'll have to make this again. Not even joking. I don't know, some people probably, I know certain meals people are just like, I don't care, I'm not watching this. And some of you do vibe or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Oh, it's so, man. Also, update for you people watching. Some of you do worry about and ask me about my gallon. Oh, man. Okay. I've said this before, but I'm going to clarify it one more time. Just put it on wax. Just put it out there. I missed the UPS because they went to deliver it, and I had signed for it. And I was so busy that I never got signed for it. So 3 days, 3 in a row, at the post office. At the same time was right when we started to break ground on our new facility. So I was busy, just like, it was the last thing I was thinking about. Like, I didn't start thinking about recording until I was done working. And it's kind of still like that. So I left it at the post office so long, I got returned to sender, and I got refunded. I think I'm gonna order another one, man. I wanted it, and it's an L, but it's not an L. Like, it's not going anywhere. I started talking about it for like a whole week, and then it just like, I got so preoccupied because when I get like in that mindset, when I start grinding, I forget about like certain things like this. Like, my mail people can't stand me because I don't check my mail. I check my mail every 5 days because I like walk in the house and I'm right back out. You know what I'm saying? And I know they do because they leave like a letter sticking out. Like, hey, get your email. I get it. I hope they don't watch none of these, but I'm sorry cause I get it. I'm so preoccupied. I'm supposed to be getting another car. My lease runs out in 10 days. And they keep calling me. And I just like, at the end of the day, I'm like, oh no. And I forget. So I gotta do something about that soon, but it's kind of how I am, you know. It's a gift and a curse in a way. I do have like a really crazy work ethic, but at the same time, along with that, I tend to forget to answer text messages, phone calls, so that's not good. I've faded away from a lot of my friends, the IRL friends. people I grew up with, just because like I'm so busy. I've lost relationships. I've screwed up relationships with women in the past because I'm so busy that they just, I'm not to say they're not important, but they feel unimportant, and I can understand that because like who the heck I want to be with somebody who they get home at midnight and they now, especially now, like imagine dating me now. And I know people are like, oh yeah, but I wake up, I'm off to the races. I get home at like midnight. I got home at midnight tonight. By the time I cleaned up, got my stuff ready for tomorrow, went over my stuff, took my dogs out, cooked it. It's 3 a.m. I'm eating, I'm recording. By the time I do this, edit the video, upload it, so it's ready for tomorrow. It's 4 a.m. and I'm going to bed. Where in there am I going to see a significant other, you know? So it's not all glitz and glamour, man. I would honestly tell you that a lot of people who are workaholics, like, yeah, they can see some form of success, but your personal life does take a hit. It's a part of the game. And it's hard to find that balance, you know? But not hard to find this ridiculous burger. But it can be hard. And I'm aware of it, but I can't slow down. I can't. You know, I don't party. Think about it. You guys might go out on a Saturday night or something like that, right? I'm full of Chick-fil-A on Saturday. You think I'm doing anything? So, you know, I don't go out. I don't do stuff like that. You know, and I chose this. I'm not complaining. This is the life I chose. But it comes with the territory for me. When you're basically, because this has become a second job, so I'm working 2 jobs, you know? And in both jobs, I work for myself. I control my own destiny. So it just makes me work harder, you know, to put out content. I'm you know, trying to do that. And it's just, you know, that's why when people I say I'm never getting married and stuff like that, like, I would feel bad for anybody who tried to marry me. Just for that reason, you know? And I've had people be like, oh, well, you know, we can record together. Y'all know what I'm saying? You wasn't with me shooting in the gym? Nah. Nah, you had to be here already. Nah. You ain't paid for this camera. You bought this camera, you come over right now. I'm serious. I'm just being real. Who knows, maybe one day. Probably not though. I've screwed up a lot of personal relationships in my life because of this, and you know, some of them basically just said screw you and they don't talk to me over the years, of course, anymore, because, and I don't blame them, because I never saw them, I never talked to them, I never, you know, how come you don't answer my text messages? And I'm sorry, I don't. And it's not because I didn't care, it's because somebody got paid for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. But that was cool. I enjoyed vibing with you guys. The meal was off the chain. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of this cocktail sauce. But other than that, anybody want like a sip? Something? Nah. Alright. Well, that was my eating, my mukbang, my chill session with you guys. It's been a hectic weekend. It's kind of good to get back in the kitchen, take the cheat meal chain on, and put the apron back on. But of course, tomorrow we'll be doing the same thing. I have no idea what I'm making yet. But the schedule has kind of been going like that. In the beginning of the week, I tend to do the home cooked stuff. Then the more we get towards the weekend, I turn into Mr. I want to burn my stomach and other stuff with spicy stuff, and then do eating challenges. And I'm enjoying all of it. So I think all of it's here to stay. We'll be doing a lot more different kinds of content. I'm glad you guys are enjoying all of it. A lot of you enjoy the home cooked stuff. A lot of you enjoy the challenge stuff. You know, I know the challenge stuff gets more views, which is normal. You know, more like people who just kind of casually watch, which is understandable, are going to want to see me in pain more than they're going to want to see me, you know, just chilling and talking and just being me. Which I totally get. It's nothing against anybody. But anyway, I'm talking way too long and I'm out of food. So, it's been your boy, King Strats. We will be back. tomorrow. How did I start saying all this the same way every time? I don't know. More content. I love you. I mean all that too, man. The hand signs, they made it to YouTube.